You see, I would have thought a place like Portishead would always have had a lifeboat, but as you mentioned, only in the last 30 years or so.
Only in the last 30 years, yes. With the coming of the boating after the end of the war, and that became very popular, the RNLI set up a shore boat scheme whereby they could call on local rescue boats to assist in rescues, and that's how it all started. The local sailing club had a rescue boat here, and it was used to rescue anyone out here. In fact, it launched 229 times in 25 years, assisted 404 people, and actually saved 34 lives.
That's a pretty impressive record.
It's a very impressive record, yes. How we come by this boat, the Coast Guard were unable to fund it anymore, and the local sailing club couldn't afford to carry it on. The people of Portishead got up a petition and said, we need a lifeboat here. We presented the petition to the Woodspring Town Council, and they very kindly let us have £5,000 towards a start. And we did a lot of fundraising, and within 53 weeks we'd raised £30,000, enough money to have this boat purposely built for us. And in 4 years we've launched 46 times, and we've actually saved a further 2 lives.
What are your particular memories? Because you were coxswain, weren't you?
Yes, I was coxswain for 25 years. We've had good times and we've had some bad times. I suppose one of the best memories really when the Coast Guard informed us there were 4 children cut off by the tide along here. And the tide was coming in and we only had a matter of minutes to save them. And I know I was speaking to the Coast Guard officer afterwards. He said it was the longest 20 minutes of his life, waiting to know that we'd taken off those 4 children and saved them.
For 25 years, the local rescue service has been operating from here. But now this boat's days as an emergency vessel are over. From now on, it'll be used solely by the sailing club.
We've had difficulty in actually manning the service and the cost of trying to keep the boat up to a service that the people would expect us to provide. We haven't resources to do it. We're a small sailing club, and you know it's a secondary part of the club, and it's just basically resources.
That stretch of the Severn is covered by lifeboats based in Weston and Chepstow, but in bad weather its feared response would be slow.
The service has operated here for 25 years, and in that time it's credited with having saved 34 lives, and we would like to continue in that vein. That's justification in itself.
There are a large number of people who walk the cliff paths, fish off the edge of the cliffs, other people using the water for recreational purposes. If they get into trouble near here, the water is extremely cold, and by the time somebody gets from one of the other stations, they could be dead.
Already they've agreed use of the slipway, and the club's handed over £4,000 of donations. So now the hard work really begins to raise the money. But the Trust are confident they hope to be able to have enough money by the time of the Festival of the Sea later this year.
It's absolutely marvellous, the support we've had. I mean, when I go shopping down the village, I've had people come up and give me a £10 note. Oh, this is towards the lifeboat. And it's really amazing.
The new lifeboat will arrive in Portishead later today and will be based here at the Sailing Club. This summer there'll be special training sessions for the volunteer crews, and they'll actually start saving lives in August.
This is all the work going on Sugarloaf in Compound 1, ready for the new rescue boat. Hopefully, anyway. They've hacked out some of the cliff. And here are the men working, some chatting. Some of them would be strangers to you. They've put in an awful lot of hard work this last week, so I thought I'd come down because it's the only chance I get to see my husband.
For over 25 years, the lifeboat has been going to the rescue of sailors in distress. It stands guard over a treacherous stretch of the Bristol Channel, from Clevedon up to the Severn Bridges and across to the Welsh coast. But 4 years ago its future looked doubtful, when Her Majesty's Coast Guard withdrew the money that paid for the boat's insurance and fuel, arguing there was no need for this station. One crew member disagreed. Ray Herbert has spent 25 years working on the boat, and he decided the service must continue.
The local yacht club, whose boats they are, decided they would try and carry on to see how it would go. But after 3 years, they couldn't afford it. At that stage, some of us decided we would try and become a charity and set up a boat on our own, which in fact is what we did.
It will cost £12,000 a year to keep this new charity running. During rescue operations, the boat is manned by 3 men from a rota of 14. All are volunteers with full-time jobs. One crew member is an engineering machinist with a local firm.
We feel it's very vital because the nearest boat, our lifeboat, is stationed at Weston-super-Mare, which obviously means that there is a very large gap in the channel. Portishead is becoming a very, very popular boating area, and we feel that there is a definite need for a service within the area.
The new boat was launched 6 months ago and has been called out several times since. The necessity of having a boat at this point in the channel was tragically reinforced a few weeks ago.
Unfortunately, our boat was damaged during a training exercise and we had to withdraw it from service for repairs. During that period, there was a very sad incident within 1.5 miles of here where a boat sank with the loss of 2 lives. I'm not going to say we could have saved those 2 lives, but at least we would have been a lot nearer than boats having to come from Weston-super-Mare, Barry, to help with the search.
The weather conditions of the past week have made the crew all the more determined that the lifeboat shouldn't go under because of lack of money. So for now, Bristol Channel remains a little safer for sailors venturing out during hurricane winds and driving rain.
This is the lifeboat, £40,000 worth, to replace, as you say, the old one, which wasn't quite up to it anymore. Now, this is Dave Herbert, the coxswain, who is on the boat. What's so special about this one?
Well, it's really been built to our specifications. Having used the boat for 7 years out here and experienced the channel, we wanted to modify this boat, which we've been able to do, and make it a better boat for the job.
Got some pretty high-tech equipment on it, haven't you?
Yes, we have. We've got these helmets which we all wear, which allow the crew to communicate to each other when we're out on the water. And this box of tricks here, our satellite navigation system, which will aid us, particularly in bad weather, to get to the right place at the best possible speed.
Now, Susan said in the introduction there, was with thanks to a local woman who donated £33,000. That's great.
Yes, a long-standing Portishead resident donated the money that paid for the boat and the engines, and then the trust, through the sale of the old boat and through donations for equipment, were able to put all this nice new equipment on the boat.
And briefly tonight, cider to launch it?
Yes, it's a West Country boat built in Yeovil, operates in the West Country, so what else but some good old Thatcher cider.
I now call upon our sponsor, Mrs. Barbara Palmer, to name the new Portishead lifeboat. Barbara.
Perhaps some of you wondered why I've asked for cider. I didn't want any champagne, and I certainly didn't want any other wine. Now, this boat was built in Yeovil. We've watched her going down. We've been down there several times to see it. I never thought once for a moment she would be here, but she's here. And now I'm going very, very down and calling it the Denbar Sage Lifeboat. I will explain it later, but I'm now going to go down there with the real old-fashioned cider and bring it all around the boat. Colin has just said, may God bless her and all who serve and sail in her. Oh, well, I hope that is so. Right, come on.
The name Denbar Sage derives from Mrs. Palmer's maiden name, Sage, Barbara Sage, and her brother Dennis, hence Denbar Sage.
Last year, a single donor helped pay for the new boat, but now help is needed again. The current station just isn't up to scratch.
There are no changing facilities, there's no casualty reception facility, there's no training facility, and a purpose-built station would make it an ideal situation.
This is where they want to build it, close to the pier where it's more sheltered. They've already got planning permission. The challenge now is to raise the £750,000 needed. Kylie Pentelow, BBC Points West, Portishead.
B729 has a lot to live up to. Denbar Sage was her predecessor on station at Portishead since 2003. She was launched 158 times and saved 11 lives. But she herself needed to be rescued back in 2008. Ripped in two after hitting rough water. The experienced crew abandoned their training run when they were forced to put out a mayday. Denbar's replacement, though, is made of sterner stuff. Her name is B729. As names go, it's hardly poetic, but when she takes to the water, the way she moves certainly is. It's the tight turning circle and the manoeuvrability that have really got the crew excited. And those are useful things to have when you've got 100 square miles of choppy tidal water to patrol. From today, she is the new Portishead and Bristol Lifeboat, a vessel that her crew describe as world class.